Today's lesson is a concept called the zero function. The zero function is nothing more than what we usually call the root. So think of it this way. I have a curve. It crosses the x-axis. This is a root, and this is a root. Okay? That's it. The points where y is equal to 0. That's it. So we need to be able to solve it, and we've practiced that before, but now we're using a different notation. So let's start our first example. Okay, suppose I have the function f of x is equal to x cubed minus x squared minus 2x. Okay? Here's what you do for your solution. You let y is equal to f of x, which is equal to 0. So it's just like saying let y equal 0. So this whole thing becomes a 0. So you've got 0 is equal to x cubed minus x squared minus 2x. I'm going to factor. I look for a way to factor, and the only thing I can factor is an x. So I get x squared minus x minus 2, and then I can factor this part here, and I'm left with 0 is equal to x, and I've got x minus 1, x plus 1, and x minus 2, actually. So therefore, our zeros are x equals 0, 1, negative 1, and 2. And we are done. Exactly like when we were finding the x-intercepts. Exactly the same. We just need a little more practice, guys. And that was question number 1 from our example. So now let's go and do the rest of this. Let's do another problem. So now, suppose I have this. F of x is equal to 2 minus the square root of 4 minus x squared. The solution is this. 0 is equal to, you start by saying let f of x is equal to 0, or 0 equals f of x, doesn't matter. So now you've got 2 minus the square root of 4 minus x squared is equal to 0. And we bring we put this here and bring that over there. So we got 4 minus x squared now on the root side. And then we have to square both sides to get rid of that square root sign. So we're left with 4 minus x squared is equal to 4. And then when we bring this 4 over to this side, we end up with 4 minus 4, which is 0, is equal to x squared, which means our answer is x equals 0. And that is our solution. We're done. And now we'll move on to determining x and y intercepts using function notation. So what I want you to do now is we're going to find the x and y intercepts based on this function. F of x is equal to x times x plus 1, x minus 6, all over x plus 8. And before we even begin, we look at that denominator and we must say x cannot equal 8. So let's find the x-intercept. So a solution is let y equal f of x equals 0. So that means 0 is equal to x times x plus 1 times x minus 6 all over x plus 8. Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, the zeros are x is equal to 0, -1, and 6. And that's because the zeros come from the denominator. Okay? So the zeros come from the denominator, just like before. Okay? So now we'll go and try to find the y-intercepts. You know what? On second thought, let's go and state what the x-intercepts are. So therefore, the x-intercepts are 0, 0, -1, 0, and 6, 0. And so now let's continue on with finding the y-intercept. So now, finding the y-intercept of something like this is rather funny. And so now we're going to start by finding the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, we have to actually let x equal 0 in that original equation. So we're going to say let y equal f of 0. Okay, and when we do that, we just substitute f at that function. So the right side of the equation is just written down. So y is equal to the following. Zero times 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus -6 all over 0 plus 8. And multiplying that out, we end up with 0. So we end up with y is equal to 0. So our y-intercept is 0, 0. And we's done. So now suppose I have this equation and we want to find the x and y intercepts. F of x is equal to 1/2 of the square root of x squared minus 2x minus 3. The solution for this is going to be, the solution to find the y-intercept is to say, let y equal f of x equaling 0. So this is the x-intercept. So then we've got the following. 0 is equal to 1/2 times the square root of x squared minus 2x minus 3. And, well, if we multiply both sides by 2, we end up getting rid of the half. So we end up with just the square root of x squared minus 2x minus 3. And to get rid of that, we just square both sides, and we're left with x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. And then we factor x minus 3 and x plus 1 is equal to 0, which means our final solution is x is equal to 3 and x is equal to -1. My goodness, my computer is slow. Okay, let's fix that then. And we got x is -1. So now we just say, so the x-intercepts are 3, 0 and -1, 0. For the final stage of this problem, all we have to do is find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we let x equal 0 in our original equation. So our y is going to equal f at 0, but f of 0 is equal to 1/2 the square root of 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 3. And we simplify, and we end up with the square root of -3, and this is impossible. So, since it's impossible, therefore, there is no y-intercept. And now your homework is the following questions. Page 56, number 35 to 57, and we're doing odd numbers. And you'll notice it's only a few small numbers. Don't do more than 10 questions.